Today we're going to get into a really fascinating and ancient story from the Padma Purana. It's this incredible tale about two brothers whose lives go in completely opposite directions. I mean, one becomes this virtuous scholar, and the other, well, he becomes a tormented ghost. But, this is way more than just a spooky story. It's actually a deep lesson on sin, forgiveness, and the real power of truly listening. So let's start with the two brothers at the center of it all.
So on one side, you've got Gokarna. He's the scholar, a really good guy, super devout, who eventually heads off on a spiritual pilgrimage. And then you have his brother, Dhundhukari. The text describes him as just cruel and depraved, a man totally consumed by his worst impulses. And this difference, this huge gap between them, is really what kicks this whole story off.
So once their father is gone and his good brother is away on his pilgrimage, Dhundhukari's wickedness just explodes. And his first truly awful act is against his own mother. He's so eaten up by greed that he attacks her viciously, demanding to know where the family money is hidden. It's a shocking, unbelievable betrayal. And this cruelty has an immediate and just tragic result. The text tells us his mother is so completely broken by her son's monstrous behavior that she sees no way out. In the middle of the night, she goes to a well and takes her own life. So now, Dhundhukari's sin has directly caused his own mother's death. With no family or morality to hold him back, Dhundhukari just spirals. He gets involved with 5 prostitutes, and his entire life becomes about pleasing them. To get them fancy clothes and jewelry, he dives headfirst into a life of crime. He becomes so blinded by lust, the text says, that he completely forgets he's even mortal, just living for the next thrill. But here's the twist. The very people he was sinning for turn on him. The women see all the stolen goods he's piled up, and they make a cold, hard calculation. They figure, hey, this guy's a known thief, he's gonna get caught, and we'll lose everything. So they decide to kill him and keep it all for themselves. And the murder is just brutal. They tie him up while he's sleeping, try to strangle him, but he fights back. So in a final horrific move, they shove burning coals into his mouth until he dies.
So, because of his wicked life and that violent death, Dhundhukari's soul can't find peace. It can't move on. Instead, he becomes what's known in Sanskrit as a preta, a tormented spirit. The texts say he becomes a formless wind, just howling and suffering, trapped between worlds.
Okay, so years pass, and the good brother Gokarna finally comes home from his pilgrimage. He has no idea what's happened, no idea his mother is dead, no idea his brother was murdered and is now this wandering ghost. He just decides to sleep for the night in the courtyard of their old abandoned family home. That night, the ghost of Dhundhukari senses his brother. Desperate for help, he tries to show himself, but he does it by taking on all these terrifying forms. One second he's a sheep, then a giant elephant, then a buffalo, even a being made of fire. It's just this chaotic, horrifying attempt to get his brother's attention. But Gokarna isn't just some regular guy. He's a yogi, a scholar. So instead of freaking out and running away, he stays completely calm. He looks right at this terrifying shape-shifting thing, and he just asks a question. He tries to understand. And just like that, the ghost can finally communicate. And it's this heartbreaking confession. He says, "I'm your brother, Dhundhukari. It was my own sins that did this to me." He explains how he was murdered and then just begs his brother, "Please save me." In that one moment, this terrifying monster becomes a desperate soul begging for help. So of course, Gokarna wants to help his brother. He does exactly what you're supposed to do. He goes to the holy city of Gaya and performs the Shraddha ceremony. This is one of the most powerful rituals there is for freeing the souls of your ancestors. He does everything perfectly, but it doesn't work. Nothing happens. His brother's ghost is still trapped. His sins were too deep, his death too violent for the usual rituals to work. Desperate, Gokarna appeals to a higher power, to the sun god, Surya, and he actually gets an answer. The sun god tells him, look, for a soul this corrupted, there's only one thing that will work: a public, 7-day reading of the sacred scripture, the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Okay, this next part is so unique. Gokarna sets up the reading, and people come from all over to listen. But think about it. The ghost is a formless wind. Where is it supposed to sit? It searches around and finds this tall stalk of bamboo that has 7 knots in it. It finds a little hole at the bottom and slips inside.
This bamboo stalk becomes its seat, its vessel for the next 7 days.
So Gokarna begins to read, and as he does, something miraculous starts happening. At the end of the very first day, a loud crack echoes through the crowd. The first knot on the bamboo has burst open. The next day, same thing. The second knot breaks. And this keeps happening day after day. Each day of listening is literally shattering one of the karmic bonds that's holding him prisoner.
Finally, at the end of the 7th day, as the reading concludes, the very last knot shatters, and out of that broken bamboo emerges, not a ghost, but a radiant, divine being shining like the sun. Dhundhukari has been completely purified and transformed by the power of the story. I mean, the change is just total, a complete 180. He goes from being this wretched ghost to a celestial being. The text describes him wearing a golden crown, beautiful earrings, garlands of holy basil, just shining with this divine light. The transformation is absolute.
And his redemption is immediately confirmed. A divine chariot, a Vimana, comes down from the heavens, ready to take the newly freed soul of Dhundhukari to the celestial realm. His suffering is finally officially over. But wait, just as Dhundhukari is about to get on the chariot, Gokarna asks the most important question of the whole story. He points out that thousands of other people from the village were there. They all sat and listened to the exact same reading for 7 days. So how come only his brother was saved? It's the central mystery. And the celestial beings on the chariot give him the answer. And this is the key to the whole story. They explain that while everyone else just heard the words, Dhundhukari truly listened. For 7 days stuck in that bamboo, that's all he did. He fasted. He focused his mind completely. He contemplated every word. It's the difference between passive hearing and active, deep listening. So the story basically gives us a recipe for what this kind of transformative listening really takes. First, you need faith in the teacher, the one speaking. Second, you need humility to know you have something to learn. Third, you have to conquer your own mind, stop it from wandering. And last, you need that unwavering focus. Dhundhukari, in his desperation, had all of that. The other villagers, well, they were just there. So Gokarna decides, okay, let's do it again. He holds another 7-day reading, but this time he tells everyone in the village, listen like my brother did, with that same focus. And the result is just astounding. When the second reading is over, the Supreme Lord Hari himself appears, and every single soul who truly listened, from the highest in the village to the lowest outcasts, even the dogs, is granted liberation and ascends with him to the heavens. And we'll leave you with this final, really powerful thought from the text. It says that a life lived without engaging with these sacred stories, it's like a bubble on water. It's there for a second, and then it's gone, as if it never existed. The story suggests that real meaning, real permanence, doesn't just come from living, but from listening. Really, truly listening to the wisdom that's been passed down.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're opening up a narrative that, it feels like an ancient mythological thriller.
It really does.
But it delivers some, surprisingly modern insights into karma, liberation, and what it actually means to listen.
Right, and our source material is built around this profound moral contrast between two brothers. You have Gokarna, who is this detached ascetic,
The good son.
the very good son, and then you have his brother Dhundhukari, who is an extreme sinner. So today's deep dive mission is really to figure out why. Why couldn't this soul, just steeped in evil, be saved by the most rigorous traditional rites?
And what was this radical, unconventional method that finally did the trick?
It starts with their life choices. Gokarna, he leaves home to pursue yogic knowledge, total detachment.
Meanwhile, Dhundhukari becomes, the textbook definition of depravity.
That's putting it mildly.
So let's start with those dark details. The text calls Dhundhukari an Achugra Karmakarta.
Which means a perpetrator of extremely fierce acts.
Yeah.
His life was basically defined by theft and his association with 5 harlots.
But it gets so much worse.
Oh, absolutely. His actions escalate to the ultimate offense against his own family. When he needed money, he violently turned on his mother.
The description is chilling.
It is. It says he beat her severely, demanded money, and then threatened her with his foot. And this created so much terror, so much despair.
That she took her own life.
She committed suicide by throwing herself into a well at night.
that just, that sets the stage for a kind of karmic debt you can't even imagine. But the end of his own life is where the story delivers this really shocking twist.
Yes, his wicked associations become his fate. The harlots he was with, they started to fear that his constant theft would get him captured by the king.
And they'd be implicated.
Exactly. So they decide to just eliminate him and keep all the stolen wealth for themselves.
And they tie him up while he's sleeping?
Tie him up, and then they strangle him.
But even that wasn't fast enough for them.
No. And the source material spares no details here. It says they threw masses of burning coals
Taptongara Samisha.
right into his mouth. He died from the internal burning, and they just threw his body in a pit.
And then lied about it, just said he'd gone off to find more wealth.
This level of sin, I mean, especially against your own mother, it just raises the stakes incredibly high for any hope of release in the afterlife.
It seems impossible.
It does, and the text really stops to drive a point home here. It gives this powerful moral warning,
Right.
saying the wise should never trust those whose words are sweet, but whose hearts, it says, are as sharp as a razor's edge. This whole sequence just frames the massive spiritual problem that Gokarna is about to inherit.
After his violent death, Dhundhukari obviously doesn't find any rest. He becomes this tormented soul, a great preda, a ghost.
Stuck in a state of just continuous agony. The text describes him wandering in all directions like a whirlwind.
Whirlwind, yeah.
Just afflicted by cold, heat, hunger, thirst. I mean, this instability is key. He has no peace, no identity.
And in the middle of all this, Gokarna, the yogi brother, returns home. He senses the distress, and that night, the ghost appears.
And the way it appears is fascinating. It's not stable, it shifts dramatically.
From a sheep to an elephant.
A buffalo, then fire, before it finally sort of settles into the form of a man. But Gokarna, he's a yogi, he stays calm, he recognizes this must be his brother.
But the ghost can't speak at first.
No, just crying. It's a sign of how degraded his state is. He's lost the power of, articulate expression.
So Gokarna performs this simple ritual.
Very simple, but powerful. He just sprinkles some water from his cupped hands over the preta.
And that's enough.
It's just enough purification to restore his speech. And he can finally say, I am your brother, Dhundhukari.
Now this is where it gets really puzzling. Gokarna is confused. He says, look, I've already performed the most revered rites for you. Gaya Shraddha. All the ancestral ceremonies.
And for you listening, Gaya Shraddha is considered the gold standard. I mean, it's the ultimate ritual prescribed in the scriptures. It's supposed to be a guarantee of release.
It's the one you do when nothing else works.
Exactly. And this is where the story makes its major claim. Dhundhukari tells him, tragically, that even 100 Gaya Shraddhas would not bring him release.
Wait, 100? So if the ultimate scripturally approved ritual fails, what is the text saying? That individual karma can just override it all?
That's the huge theological claim right there. It suggests that for sins of this magnitude, the external ritual is simply not enough.
It's insufficient.
You need something internal, something transformative. So Gokarna is left with this unprecedented problem. How do you purify a soul that resists all the standard religious rules?
So he's out of options. The rule book is useless.
Totally useless. He can't find a solution in the scriptures, the scholars can't help him, so he seeks the highest possible source. He prays to the sun god, Surya.
The cosmic witness to everything.
Precisely. And the sun god cuts right through all the confusion with a very specific, direct instruction.
And what does he say?
He says, liberation comes from the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Perform a 7-day recitation, a Saptaha Moksha.
So the solution isn't more ritual, it's listening.
Focused, communal, spiritual listening to a sacred story over a set period. This is where everything changes.
So Gokarna organizes this 7-day event. But there's a problem. Dhundhukari is still a restless, wind-formed ghost. He can't just sit in the crowd.
Right, he needs an anchor. And this creates one of the most powerful visual images in the whole story.
The bamboo pole.
The preta enters a tall bamboo pole that happens to have 7 visible knots. It becomes his anchor point, giving him the stability he needs to actually focus.
And the transformation is, you can see it happening, it's physical. At the end of the first day's recitation, one of the knots on the pole just bursts open with a sound.
And this happens every single day. A knot bursts. It's like a layer of karmic bondage is being audibly broken, measurable proof that the knowledge is doing its work.
And after the 7th day, the final knot breaks.
The 7th knot breaks, and Dhundhukari is instantly liberated. He transforms from this tormented ghost into a divine being adorned with all the symbols of grace.
An amazing outcome. The power of focused hearing is undeniable, but here's the twist.
The big twist.
A celestial chariot arrives from Vaikuntha, but it's only for Dhundhukari. Hundreds of other pure listeners were there, but only the ex-sinner gets the instant reward.
And this is the truly analytical moment of the story. Gokarna asks the servants of Hari, why? Why did only my wicked brother get this instant ride to heaven? Everyone here heard the exact same story.
It's a great question. It forces the text to separate just passively consuming information from true, deep knowledge absorption.
Precisely. The servants explain that the difference is all in the quality of the listening and the contemplation that follows it. The Mananam,
So everyone heard the words.
with Dhundhukari, who had fasted for 7 days, who was facing total despair, he listened with absolute fixed concentration. Nishalamati.
And then they lay out the rules for it to work. You need faith in the guru, humility, you need to conquer your own mental flaws.
And most importantly, that firm concentration. Without that contemplation, that manamam, the knowledge is just. It's just noise. It doesn't do anything.
And to really drive that point home, the text gives this brutal reminder of what we're all up against.
It gets very graphic, very suddenly. It contrasts the eternal benefit of knowledge against the messy, temporary nature of our bodies.
It calls the body a pillar of bones, a vessel of filth, a house of disease.
And says it's destined to end as worms or feces or ashes.
It's a visceral shock. But why? Why put that in there?
The text is forcing you, the listener, to ask, if you know this body is temporary and this knowledge offers something eternal, why aren't you paying attention with the same intensity that Dhundhukari used to save himself?
It's a challenge.
It is. Only by achieving that focused absorption, that nishalamati, can you actually use information for lasting change.
So Gokarna, he internalizes this profound lesson. Quality over quantity. Focus over ritual. And he repeats the recitation.
And this time, the outcome is just. It demonstrates the ultimate magnitude of grace that's possible through deep contemplation. Lord Hari, Krishna himself, appears.
And he doesn't just take Gokarna.
No, he transforms Gokarna to resemble the Lord and then miraculously takes everyone, all the listeners, every single creature in the village, from the cows to the lowest castes.
Everyone goes.
Everyone goes directly to Goloka, the supreme realm.
Wow. So the magnitude of that final act really confirms the power of the initial lesson. The reward for deeply integrating this knowledge, it's bigger than what you get from lifelong ascetic practices or intense yoga.
It is, and the profound takeaway here is this. You've read articles, you've listened to summaries, you consume information all the time.
Right.
Dhundhukari's story, ending with the liberation of an entire village, it proves that the difference between minimal results and complete transformation is your concentration. The real lesson of those 7 knots is about active integration.
How firmly are you committed to applying the knowledge you gain today?
That level of commitment, that's what breaks the bond.
And that is a perspective that changes everything.